This is my speech on why you should not spank your child. Kathy's on the phone today because I'm working. And then here is everyone else. And I'm going to turn the phone over to Sam. Okay. My speech on today is, should you spank your child? Can I receive this? Okay. Were you spanked as a young child by your parents as a way to discipline you? Did it reform your behavior? Did it make you a better person, or did it bring about feelings or resentment and anger? I have done a lot of research on why you should not spank your child, and I'm going to tell you from personal experience. I have twin girls, and I went through family court about, they're 9 now, so let's say 8 years ago I went through family court, and I was sitting in my lawyer's office preparing for our next trial, because we were going to trial at the time, so we were preparing for our next court date, going over some things, and he looked at me and said to me, "Do you spank the girls?" And I looked at him, I said, "What did you just ask me?" He's like, "Do you spank the girls?" I'm like, "Lance, you realize they're not even a year yet." And he's like, "I understand, but do you spank them?" I'm like, "Lance, they're not a year old, I don't touch them. Like, what would you do? Why would I do that?" And he said that there is a fine line between discipline and abuse. And I don't recommend that you spank them. And I said to him again, I said, "Lance, I'm paying you. You do realize they're not a year yet." And he goes, "I understand, but there's a fine line between spanking and abuse." And he goes, "They're going to ask you that in court." And I'm like it boggled my mind when you think about things like that, because as an adult, I'm 31 years old, I was spanked as a child. Absolutely, hands down I was. And did it make me become a drug addict and alcoholic? Do I abuse my kids? No. But do I think that it's happened to other people that now took it out of context? Do I think people went a little too far? Absolutely. When you spank your child, you're mad. You're mad at the situation, and you're mad at them for doing what you thought was wrong. And when you go to discipline them, you're so enraged. You're not thinking about the long-term effects. You're not thinking 5 minutes from now, you're thinking now. I've spanked my kids twice. And you instantly feel regret. Because I'm like, "Oh my God, I spanked you and you're crying because I did something that hurt you." And I didn't hurt them, I hurt them emotionally. And I remember Mia I have twins, as I told you before. Mia is the younger out of the two. They're only 2 minutes apart, so it's Olivia and Mia. Mia's the second one. She goes, "Why did you spank me?" She said to me. I said, "Well, what you did was wrong." She goes, "But why would you hurt me?" She goes, "You're supposed to love me." And she was 4. And after that, I never did it again. I am more likely to yell at you than to ever put my hand on you. I've worked 70-hour weeks trying to keep us afloat, and I can see where my lawyer was coming from. When they do something wrong and I'm exhausted, you can take it too far, and I can see where they say that, and I can see where there's a fine line of abuse and a fine line of punishment and abuse. Because when you're tired and you're like, "I can't take it anymore, you're done too much," you can see where it does that. I walk away when they get going and I'm exhausted, because I could yell at them. I'll never put my hands on them, but you can yell too far too. I've done in my PowerPoint here, there is other slides that says, this one says, "I don't hit my kid." I have friends who say, "What do you mean you don't hit her? You gotta hit her. We got hit when we were kids. Remember, we got hit." Then I have to have the awkward conversation where I explain to that we are not what I'm aiming for. And then I thought, when I saw that slide, that picture on Google, I thought it was pretty powerful. Because just because it happened to you as a kid doesn't mean it's right for yours. And that goes along with parenting as a general whole. It goes that what happened to me, where my parents might have left me alone at 13, I'm not going to leave my kids alone at 13. Look at the world, And then I saw, according to this important 8 reasons why you should not spank your child, there is a few of them that I wanted to point out that makes me think of things differently. As I explained to you before, number one is it's according to this, and for 8 reasons why. It is too easy for a frustrated parent to cross the line from spanking to abuse. Unfortunately, by the time the smoke clears, many parents have crossed the line from spanking to hitting to shaking, slapping, and other forms of abuse. And I can see where that happens. Like as a parent, like I, never crossed that line, but I can see where it happens. I can see in the moment of rage, you're so upset over the things that have happened and the other things that have transpired, or if they're hitting each other. Like my one, Olivia, is more likely to hit Mia before she says anything to her. And it gets me so frustrated because you don't want to see your kids hit each other. It bothers me. Like, don't touch her. She's mine. And don't touch your sister. It's just, it upsets me to think, especially when they get going and they're upstairs fighting and Liv threatens to push her down the stairs. That happens a weekly thing at my house. It says number 2, according to counselheal.com, spanking your child makes them feel helpless and damage their self-esteem. It's hard to feel like you have control when you are told that if you don't stop crying, you'll be hit again. It makes a child ask, what is wrong with me? It's hard to feel loved or have self-worth when even your cries for help are deemed by the person who is supposed to unconditionally love and protect you. It's a betrayal. And I can see that. I've been other places. I've waitressed for years in a restaurant, and I've heard parents say that to their kid. Sit down, or they spank them on the butt and they're crying, and they say, if you cry hard, cry again and I'll spank you again. And I'm like, think to myself, does that really teach you to shut your mouth? Like, how are you gonna, you know what I mean? And then you're scared. Like, I have seen some things in my life. Other things that have really stuck out to me here is, it says, according to Dr. Michael Popkin, we have to teach children that violence is okay as a measure of restrained self-defense and never a way to punish others for misbehavior. And I found that really powerful, because you can see where spanking is abusive. It can be classified as abuse, and you have to teach your child it's okay to defend yourself, but but how can to punish you in a violent way because you misbehaved is taking it out of context. It says that usually spanking leads to misbehavior. I can see that. I can see where some kids would probably turn around and laugh at their parent. I can see that. And another one that really caught my eye, according to this goodmenproject.com, is that spanking can damage your relationship with your child. Spanking puts an emotional wedge between parent and child. Child depend on their parents to take care of them. They trust them and their authority. Authority based on fear makes child lose respect for parents. It is hard to respect someone that hurts you. The source, according to familiesonthego.com. And I can see that. I can see that point of view, that it would damage your relationship with your child. Some people think that it's the only way they're ever going to learn. When I think about punishing them, sometimes the kids don't understand what they're doing wrong. You have to be like, hey, or to my kids, I'm like, hey, Olivia, let's talk about why you just did that. Do you understand that when you just did that, when you touched my stuff, or you got in my makeup, or you threatened to throw your sister down the stairs, a weekly thing that happens at my house for some reason, I don't know. I'm like, do you realize that you're hurting me when you touch my stuff or you play in my makeup? My makeup is expensive. Stuff is expensive, I'm a single parent of twin girls. I work for everything I have at home. And when they get in my stuff, I'm very frustrated because they like to play in my makeup, and then they run the little eyeshadow brush in my good palette, and it makes dings in it, and I'm like, oh my god. And I have to explain to her that if you want, I can let you play with different stuff, but I have to explain to you, you have to tell them what they're doing wrong. Because if I just went and spanked her, what is that teaching her? It's teaching her that I'm mad. But it didn't teach her not to do it again. And maybe for some children, but you have to sit down. I've sat down and explained to her, hey, let's not do that. Why don't you ask me if you want to play in my makeup? Can we not threaten your sister to throw her down the stairs? You know, that really hurts her feelings. You don't want her to tell her friends that you're threatening her to throw her down the stairs. I said, what does that you go to school, got to be careful what you say, because, you get angry too. But I believe in talking to them. If you talk to them in a tone where it's like a sandwich effect. If you give a positive, then you explain what's, you tell them something you like, tell them what they did wrong in the middle, and then give them like a negative, tell them what they did wrong and then fill it with another positive. Because then kids learn from that way. Like, who wants to be yelled at all the time? Who wants to be like, oh, my mom's gonna spank me? But I don't feel that that's a good environment, and I can see where it strains your relationship with your child when you are like that. I just want to let you know that I have done a lot of research in a PowerPoint, and there is a lot of useful information out there. There is lots of websites you can check, and it really does explain like the damaging effects. Like, this is 2018, this isn't 1987 when we were kids and in the 90s. Things are perceived different, we're growing up different. I just want you to think about next time before you spank your child the effects it could have later on. Thank you.